I mean, this driver, as this Camaro is flying down this highway, is not the most challenging route in the world for the car, but I think what it really showcases is that in a situation where my brother-in-law and I, Joshua, were going around and running errands, the car actually is extremely usable in self-driving mode. And maybe that's not well known to a lot of people that follow the self-driving stuff that's happening. There's been a lot of, if you follow the Tesla story closely and the self-driving story closely, there's been how should I say this? There's been an effort to try and highlight a potential gap that the car has in a very loud way, and but it's not. It doesn't appear to be done in a way that where the person has all the context they need to understand what the system is supposed to do. So it's like, hey, this thing, the car will do something if you're not paying attention. I'm like, yeah, like literally every car in the world, the system could do something that's improper if you're not paying attention. But what gets missed is that with a system like this one, and I'll use myself as an example, and I have my 11-year-old brother-in-law next to me, and I feel safe enough to use it with him in the car, is that the safety of the system, from my experience of having used this system for, I don't know, like 2 years or so, something like that, maybe even longer, honestly, the comfort and the average comfort and the average safety that I feel on the road when I have the system on is greater than if I'm just driving. Because when I have it on right now and I'm driving at a set speed, the car is behaving in a very natural way. It's not trying to do anything crazy. It's not getting impatient. It's not trying to jockey for position, or it's not driving with an ego, right? Under that situation, it's additional safety because I'm not in the way of the car driving safely. And that gets missed so often when it comes to these driver assist features and this specific feature with Tesla, because once you remove the amount of time the human is actively driving, then you increase the safety on the road significantly. And this was shown by a lot of the data that Tesla and NHTSA have shown around this specific system, in this case, the Tesla full self-driving system. And so what does that mean? So what that means is that as long as the driver is paying attention, with this system, the overall safety of this vehicle on the road is significantly greater than basically every other car on the road right now. And that's proven by data. Forget about how the system is tagged from a level perspective. Is it level 2, level 3, level 4? I think that misses the point of what the system is doing, which is greater safety. And as it goes down the path of this becoming truly 100% self-driving, and I never have to worry about paying attention, we're getting the benefit of safety on the way to that end goal. And so a lot of people might say, well, why do you have this on the road right now? It doesn't fully drive itself. It's called full self-driving, even though it's beta, it's called full self-driving. Why do you have a system like that out there when it can't actually full self-drive 100% of the time and you don't pay attention? And the reason why is if you look at other companies like Cruise and Waymo and other companies out there that are trying to solve this, as they say, a robotaxi system where the car does everything for you from the beginning, those systems are extremely limited. And they're reserved only for certain cities. Like, for example, Austin, where I live in the Austin metro area, Austin has Cruise, and I think they have Waymo as well. I've seen the cars driving around. But those cars are limited to very small portions of the city. It's geofenced to very small areas of the city. And the usability of those systems is only for a very small percentage of the total population. Whereas with this system, as you can see thus far, it can do the highway, it can do the city, it can do back roads. And even though it's not perfect, for the last couple of years, there's been clear progress towards that perfect state. And it's very obvious when you experience the system, like I have and others, many others have on YouTube, so many great accounts that create content around self-driving, specifically in a Tesla. You can see that insane rate of progress to the point now where I can do these types of videos in the car where I'm paying attention and I have my young brother-in-law with me and the car's driving and I'm having a full-blown conversation with people online, you know? And even though it's not perfect, again, even though it's not perfect, it is significantly safer than any one of these other cars. And it's not because these are bad drivers. It's because we as humans are not really fit, if you really think about it, to have a perfect safety ability on the road. And just conceptually think about driving for a second, right? So we're on this road, and this is a 2-ton machine. So this thing weighs over 4,000 pounds. And this might blow your mind, Joshua. This is over 4,000 pounds, this car right now. That car on the right is probably about 3,500 pounds. The one in front of it's probably around 4,000, 4,500 pounds. These cars are traveling right now, let's say around 75 miles an hour, as 2-ton plus death machines, right? And the separation we have right now are these lines on the road, these like imaginary barriers that are white and yellow, that is meant for us to, hey, don't go over this one, otherwise you're gonna hit somebody. And then you have people in the other death machines where I'm trusting that they're not gonna do something stupid. And same thing across the road. So if you look at on the left side, right, there's a little barrier there that's separating me from the other drivers, but a lot of roads aren't like that. So you have a situation where you're traveling like towards each other, separated by some line, some imaginary barrier on the road, and then we're trusting each other that we're not going to do something stupid. And the notion that that is somehow safer than a system that can see everything, albeit not perfect, even though it's not perfect, but it can see everything, and on average it can do a lot better job than a human can. To say that that's unsafe relative to what humans are doing is insane. I can't wrap my head around that statement personally, and I just went on a 10-minute rant on this, and I apologize, but I don't understand why. I am surprised by the lack of willingness of looking at it from that perspective. Even though it's not perfect, it's way better than whatever we have. If every other car on this road had this system, my guess is that the roads would be significantly safer as long as the driver is paying attention, which is what the system is requiring from the driver, right?
The blind side turkey forces you to go.
Okay, thank you. And that's a perfect example, right? The screen was flashing, I went to do it, and you're like, yo, pay attention. Exactly, right? So that's proof right there. The system is not meant to be used right now as a, hey, I'm just gonna let you do everything, and I'm not gonna pay attention. That is not what the system is asking from the driver. The system is asking for assistance in its current state. And as the data gets collected, and as the way the cars that are in front of it behave, as my behavior teaches the car when I go in and I take over and it does something like kind of stupid, maybe not unsafe, but like just kind of stupid and not very comfortable, the system learns using that data, right?
Yeah.
And you do that everywhere. You don't just do that in the city, you do that on the highway, you do that on back roads, you do that on dirt roads, you do that in suburban areas, you do that in cul-de-sacs, you do that on roundabouts and yields and stop signs, so on and so forth. How is that not the optimal way of getting this system to learn? So